Part 27. Review the results of the drills, and agreement for the future plan. It's just that this hidden ambush method is really rare. I don't know how the guard camp learned it. Xie Yishuo stared at Ming Yu, as if he wanted to see something from his face. Ming Yu, what do you say? Gentle, friendly, sincere. With a heart of tolerance, I heard that when he first came to the border, the people below were not satisfied with the voice of resentment. A stupid prince, who has cut off the road to imperial power since he was born. In the palace, he was like an invisible person, and he had a bad reputation that was deliberately spread out. People in the world only regarded this stupid prince as a joke. Even if there is an emperor who owes guilt compensation, so what? There are many people who are clinging to wealth and power. And those who tend to be hot and powerful. Everyone understands that he is just an abandoned son without wealth and power. What can he do? It is for this reason that there are a lot of people who don't look down on him. The emperor sent down to protect him, but only because of the emperor's order. How many people are willing to depend on such a useless prince? The people below did not take such a prince in their eyes at all. You must know that as long as you have a little bit of authority, the people below only dare to obey orders, and never dare to have any objection. However, how did he solve it then? He promised to put people back to the capital in a few years. And even lured them with benefits. After Xie Yishuo learned about this, he felt a little strange in his heart, and then he came into contact with Prince Duan himself. And after thinking about it carefully, he finally understood the reason for this feeling. This is not like the actions of a prince at all. No matter how stupid the prince is, he can still have a sense of imperial power that has been infected in his bones since he was a child. Moreover, Prince Duan may not be really stupid. In his opinion, the situation at the time was that a superior should kill the chicken and be an example to those who oppose it, so that everyone fears the power of the superior. But Prince Duan was too tolerant. And he didn't have the status of a prince at all, but instead seemed to put himself on an equal position with the people below, which made people feel weird. I don't know why. Since he came into contact with Ming Yu, this feeling has become stronger and stronger, making him want to go deeper and truly understand what kind of person he is. This made him pay more attention, and thus more interested. Ming Yu seems to be out of tune with these people. His speech and behavior, his way of doing things, and his thoughts and opinions are all different. But there is no sense of disobedience in him. How could he know that Ming Yu, as a visitor from later generations, received the ideological education that everyone is equal since he was a child? These days when he came here, although he came into contact with the feudal ethics and strict hierarchy, the idea of equality and fraternity in his bones made him unable to fit into this framework. Since he couldn't fully fit in, he could only try to cover it up. After leaving the capital, Ming Yu breathed a sigh of relief. Living in such an environment almost drove him crazy. When he got here, it was like a fish in the sea, and finally he breathed the free air and let him be himself again. The same is true, making it difficult for everyone who sees him to follow the rumored and then the four princes get in touch. What Xie Yishuo saw and heard in the guard camp at the beginning of the year exceeded Xie Yishuo's expectations. He didn't believe that Ming Yu was able to figure it out. And there was only one leader, Mo Zhang, around Ming Yu who seemed to have this ability. However, after his investigation and understanding, the fog was overlapping, which made it even more difficult to distinguish right from wrong. Come true. Mo Zhang has the ability to lead, but it is not enough to have this amazing talent. Therefore, his doubts deepened. Today's guard army's hidden ambush method should be the same as that boxing method. The two are used together to complement each other. It is far more than 1 + 1 = 2. Its effect is even more powerful. Maybe this Prince Duan really has some secrets, Xie Yishuo thought deeply. Ming Yu's eyelids jumped, and he obviously didn't want to answer Xie Yishuo's question. However, his burning gaze glanced over. Ming Yu felt uncomfortable, and the rest of the people were also curious about this question, and they all turned their attention to Ming Yu. And their faces were full of curiosity. Ming Yu couldn't get down on a tiger at this time. He couldn't tell the truth. He racked his brains trying to figure out how to fool him. Wen Yujiao couldn't help but ask, "Yes, my prince, where did the guard camp learn such a skill?" "Ah, it should be taken out, so that everyone can share and learn from it. And it can also benefit Dayan Country's soldiers." Ming Yu didn't dare to fool around with these words, and the veins on his forehead jumped. My heart moved slightly, and I blurted out, do you know there used to be a fairy-like person named Sun Wu?" Everyone, look at me, I look at you, and slowly shook their heads to indicate that they had never heard of it. Ming Yu chuckled lightly. Surely, they had never heard of it. This is the grandson of the sacred soldier, known as the Master of the 100 Generations of Soldiers, and the originator of Eastern military science. Its influence in later generations is extremely significant. But this Dayan country is an unprecedented new country, which is naturally different from Ming Yu's well-known history. Let me tell you, this person is not ordinary. He knows astronomy at the top, and geography at the bottom. He can know things thousands of miles away while sitting at home. Wen Yujiao was stunned. How is this possible? Where can there be such a person in the world? Isn't such a person an immortal? Even if it's not far from it. Ming Yu was amused, and half-truth said, "It's this person." He left a book called The Art of War of Sun Tzu, which is an amazing book. Wen Yujiao couldn't believe it. How could they have never heard of such an immortal character? What kind of book is that amazing book? Could it be that all these things that Prince Duan made are related to this book? Before asking any questions, I heard Ming Yu continue, "Because it's been a long time. This strange book has been handed down to an ordinary farmer's family. I got it by accident and found the content in the book quite interesting, so I sorted it out. Let the soldiers of the guard battalion train like this. As for the results, everyone has seen it, that's it." He glanced at Xie Yishuo out of the corner of his eyes, and saw that there was no expression on his face, and he didn't know if he believed it or not. In fact, he doesn't believe it, he can't help it. If I don't take this opportunity to pull out a name and tell everything, I will be annoying in the future. He has said it here. As for whether people believe it or not, it is not up to him. Besides, what he said is better than the nonsense white-bearded grandpa who came to teach it in a dream, right? Ha ha. Ming Yu comforted himself. He was a prince anyway, and no one dared to let him get to the bottom of it. But if there are such immortal characters, it's impossible for everyone to not know about it. Wen Yujiao was suspicious. What the prince said is true. I just don't know if I can borrow the wonderful book, Sun Tzu's Art of War. Smiling without saying a word. I don't know what conditions your prince has? Xie Yishuo asked bluntly. After so many dealings, Xie Yishuo already knew Ming Yu's actions by heart. It's best to talk to this person directly. If you go around detours with him, I'm afraid that he will be taken to a distance of 108,000 miles. And no matter how credible his words are, the source of what he wants to know is in Ming Yu. And what Ming Yu said is the clue. There will be numbers. Ming Yu wrinkled his nose in dissatisfaction, and tried to pretend, but was seen through at a glance. However, Xie Yishuo's words just asked him on the top of his heart. Who told him that he lacked everything now? Of course, if you can get the benefits, you will not let it go. He smiled and stretched out his hand, rubbing his thumb and index finger lightly. Hey, If you say that, you will be seen as an outsider. Don't you know it? This book has been damaged for a long time after it has been handed down, and this prince has spent a lot of effort, day and night, leading people to endure hardships. Let's not talk about how thin people are. The dark circles under the eyes are all boiled out. General Wei, who was originally on the sidelines, couldn't help but look away. This is the prince. The real Prince Duan. Wen Yuzhao twitched the corners of his mouth. My prince, what do you mean? Needless to say, this is a prelude to a ripped off. This prince, without any benefit, is just as good as their generals. Ming Yu couldn't help but smile. As for me, I don't really mean anything else. It's just the hard work, you should understand. You know what? Wen Yuzhao choked with old blood in his throat. He shouldn't have asked such a cheap question. He looked at Xie Yishou, and his heart was filled with emotion that his general had really met an opponent now. But who are their generals? It is called ghost seeing sorrow, which is not only because the enemy is afraid to see him, but also because no one is willing to be General Xia's negotiating opponent. Everyone knows that General Xie can't get in. In the past, only their generals took things back from others. When will it be the turn of others to seek benefits from the generals? Even if the other party is the prince. The general dared to bargain in front of the emperor. Just when Wen Yuzhao wanted to see Ming Yu touch his nose, Xie Yishou nodded. Okay. Did he hear right? What do they mean by general? Even Ming Yu didn't put forward any conditions, so he readily agreed? What if Ming Yu Lion opens his mouth? Ha ha ha, General Xie has a lot of money, and Yu really is a cheerful person. This prince likes to deal with a cheerful person like you. In fact, this prince's requirements are not high. For such a little hard work. Even if you get 5,000 taels of silver. Ming Yu with his left hand, his fleshy slap shook in front of Xie Yishou. Wen Yuzhao was almost dizzy. What does it mean that the requirements are not high? What is so much hard work? You can't really expect anything from him. Xie Yishou pondered for a while. Yes, but I have one condition. Ming Yu didn't expect him to agree so quickly. So he was stunned and nodded. Tell me about it. Xie Yishou's lips curled slightly. I also want to plan all the training programs of the guard camp. Wen Yuzhao finally breathed a sigh of relief when he heard General Xie say these words. He just said, how could their General Xie suffer? What? It's impossible. Ming Yu refused without thinking. What are you kidding? The training program planning of their guard camp is their trump card. All of which have been known by their opponents. How can they play? Xie Yishou was not surprised. Ming Yu refused. His fingers tucked into his sleeves rubbed lightly. He said calmly and casually. The training programs of the guard camp are all recently sorted out, right? Any brand new thing can't be perfect. Doesn't the prince want to make it more perfect? Hi, Ming Yu gasped. Anger. Xie Yishou's words came into his heart. These training programs were all moved by him, and then he brought Mo Zhang to check the omissions and make up for the omissions. And they were basically planned. It is impossible to say that it is perfect. If there is a military tycoon like Xie Yishou to help him improve it, it will be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. However, just sending it out like this, he was unwilling, and his heart was really entangled, and he was indecisive for a while. Xie Yishou was in a good mood when he saw his tangled appearance, and the speed of rubbing his fingers was 2 points faster at the same time. Without rushing, he looked away with a calm expression. Ming Yu weighed the pros and cons for a long time, and then gritted his teeth. Okay, this prince agreed, but I have to increase the price. The last 2 words were almost gnashing. At this moment, there is only one thought in his mind: he can't make a loss-making business. Xie Yishou was relaxed and comfortable, yeah. Looking at Xie Yishou's indifferent appearance, Ming Yu is still a little angry. Isn't this person a cheap and good-looking person? Mainly he has to agree. If he can make suggestions or something, I have to thank him. What? All the benefits have been occupied by him. Fall. Ming Yu is not so easy to suffer losses, he must find it from other places to make up for it. Feeling sullen in his heart, he still had to hold it on his face. He tried his best to put on a smile. Since this is the case, you see that the relationship between our two families is so good. The family will not talk about the two families. This prince's guard camp people lack experience and so on. Why don't we choose some good seedlings every year to go to each other's army to learn and complement each other, so that we can communicate and learn from each other's good side in the long run? What does General Xie think? Xie Yishou thought about it, and thought that this idea was quite interesting, but then again, Ming Yu's ideas are novel. And all kinds of strange ideas are emerging one after another. It's really hard for his little brain to come up with it. But the prince can hand over these matters to Wen Yujiao. He directly threw these trivial matters to Wen Yujiao. Seeing that he didn't shirk the blame easily, Ming Yu finally felt relieved in his depression. Worth mentioning, it can be regarded as a gain of 10%. Wen Yujiao still doesn't know why the two of them made a deal. But what the hell did they throw over to him? Don't play like this. It's getting late today, the drill is basically completed, and the rest is their respective summary reports. Ming Yu doesn't want to stay any longer. Today, I strike while the iron is hot. I have to sort out the results of this exercise, so that everyone can understand their own shortcomings, so as to face up to their own shortcomings and learn from them for the same error.